question 2, we'll start with Vern, and we'll keep rotating around. So, Vern, you will be...
I'm sure you can all hear me. So question 2 is, should the federal tax code be reformed, and if so, how? This question is addressed to all 4 members, and we will start the round with Vern.
Well, I think the federal tax code, the first thing that we would want to do to reform that is get a match. Rick actually talked a little bit tonight about the flat tax, and isn't that the way that it should be? Everybody pays the same. If you make $100,000, $1 million, $100 million, everybody should pay the same. We've had many of the presidential candidates talk about it's time, we need to have a flat tax. And everybody talks about it until they get to Washington. And then it seems to just fall off the face of the earth. We are now going to have the Internal Revenue Service make sure that everybody has health insurance. If not, we're going to tax you, since that's what they've decided to call the penalty. So, if you get rid of the tax code, is there anybody here who can do their own taxes? I mean, I'm sure there's a few, but most of the time we have to go to other people who spend their entire life figuring out the tax code. And that's wrong. It's not supposed to be something that takes time or additional money in order to pay your taxes. So I think that what we need to do is not only talk about a flat tax, but when we get to Washington, put a bill in place, get others to vote on it, and call the people who have said, I believe in the flat tax, and say, okay, money where your mouth is. Let's try that. Instead of hundreds and thousands of pages of endless regulation.
I'm going to start by giving you the answer you don't want to hear. What do you folks want to do about tax? Everyone complains. I will tell you, in my experience, the people who have a little more money hire attorneys, and on January the 2nd, they start planning for tax year next year. And then all year long, they are implementing that plan. So next year is not filing to see what your return is, it's just keeping score to see how well you played on the game plan. No matter what the tax code is, people are going to work that way. So the real question, do we have flat tax, do we have a 2-layer tax? The people who are used to, for lack of a better word, working the system will continue to work it, and they will plan for their tax returns as opposed to react to the tax laws. So, at one level, the answer you folks don't want to hear is taxes are unfair, but it doesn't make much difference because regardless of how we change the system, people will still continue to do the same thing. Although, we pay too much in taxes because the government spends too much money. So, that is my time. Thank you.
In 2010, all 8 of us that ran for Congress on the Republican side stood up for that same item. We said flat tax. I still carry that today in 2012. There should be a flat tax. What you do is you set a flat tax at a certain percentage, and I'm sure they're going to be experts that come up with that idea, but I'll say 17%. And then whatever money you're going to garner in that taxing program, you work within that budget. That brings everybody to the table and say, hey, listen, we have X amount of dollars to spend. We do it every day in our lives. It's bipartisan, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Free Staters, everybody lives within their means. Why can't the government do that? Set a flat tax and actually go for it. Get in line, get rid of the tax code. We don't need the 30,000 plus pages. One item, one line item. Flat tax. If they really meant what they said 2 years ago, we'd have the flat tax now. For some reason, and I can't even fathom what it is because I'm not there in Washington, we don't have that flat tax. Flat tax is fair for everybody. Some people call it fair tax, but I call it a flat tax. Work within your means. Work within the money that you have in government, and let's start dwindling down those programs that don't work and those government agencies that don't work, like the Department of Education, the EPA, okay? There's a lot of other programs out there that don't work. So let's spend within our means. A flat tax is the way to get there, and let's actually see a budget. That's enough. Thanks.
I too agree with the flat tax. I want it to be zero.
Yeah.
That's flat enough, isn't it?
Sounds good.
Let's repeal the tax, income tax altogether. Start over. 1913 was a bad year. It was. I wasn't there, but it was a bad year. It gave us the income tax, it gave us the Federal Reserve, it gave us a lot of other things that, that we still have, the Federal Reserve. So let's start over with the tax. I don't like taxes. I'd like to keep everything I make. I don't want to share it with anybody unless I want to. That's fair. Not like the president say, well, the rich should pay more than the poor. We're poor, so. But I don't agree with that. I agree that America is the land of opportunity that allows you to climb to whatever height that you want to, economically, socially, whatever it is. But it's not there for people to take from you to give to somebody else, unless you wanted to. Again, I believe in the flat tax. I don't want, again, back to the president, his fairness is taken from the rich to give to the poor, but it's a way of class warfare. He's trying his best to destroy this country. Whether it's by taxation, by putting in laws that inhibit our God-given rights that we're born with, he's trying to destroy us. But back to the taxes, let's get to the flat tax. We know that it can't be zero, but before 1913, what was going on was that it was a usage tax. If you buy something or you sell something, there was a tax on that. And if you didn't do anything, then you weren't taxed on your income. We survived. But what happened after 1913 was that for 3 years, there was supposed to be a temporary tax of 3%. And guess what? It was. And in 1914, they jacked it up over the next 3 years to 97%. And they up and downed it over the years. That's wrong. Let's get rid of the taxes altogether, flat tax at zero, and start from there, and let's keep as much money as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
GrokTV.